Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Have you ever felt like, you're living with a script you didn't write? Like there's this invisible rule book, dictating your choices.
It's a common feeling for sure.
Well, today we're diving into a powerful memoir that tackles that feeling head on. It's called Unconditional by Dr. Samra Zafar.
Oh, I'm excited to dive into this one.
It's a story about breaking free from those deeply ingrained beliefs that might be, holding you back. And trust me, it gets really real really fast. So,
Yeah.
if you're ready to unlearn those limitations and write your own story, hit that like button and subscribe. You can find the Amazon link to Unconditional in the episode description. So, grab a copy and let's dive in.
Memoirs like this really resonate, I think, because they take these universal struggles and they show us a tangible path forward, through someone else's experience.
Yeah.
And Dr. Zafar's journey, while, deeply personal, it offers a roadmap for anyone feeling stuck or trapped by expectations, whether they're societal, cultural, or even, self-imposed.
Absolutely. And she kicks things off with a truly bold move, leaving a forced marriage at just 25.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about courage. She was navigating intense cultural and societal pressures, rebuilding her life as a single mother, and facing so much uncertainty. It makes you wonder, what does it really take to break free from a situation like that?
It's more than just willpower, isn't it? Zafar talks about tapping into a deep well of self-belief, even when everyone around her was telling her, she was making a mistake. She had to confront this idea of honor
Yeah.
that was being used to control her and redefine it for herself. It's a powerful reminder that we all have the capacity to choose ourselves, even when it feels impossible.
And that choice leads her on a journey of self-discovery.
Mm.
There's this incredible moment where she embarks on a solo road trip through Quebec.
Mm.
And she doesn't just describe the scenery. She talks about using that time to strengthen her intuition.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting. Zafar actually gives us, specific techniques she used to hone that inner voice. And she talks about practicing mindfulness while driving, noticing the subtle cues her body was giving her, and using journaling prompts to dig deeper into those, intuitive nudges. It's like she's saying intuition isn't magic. It's a skill you can develop.
So anyone listening can actually try these techniques.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. It's like she's giving us a toolkit for tuning into our own inner
Yeah.
wisdom. And it's not just about making big life decisions either, right? Zafar talks about how intuition plays a role in everyday choices, from what to eat to how to respond to difficult situations.
Exactly. It's about learning to trust yourself more, to recognize the difference between like fear-based thinking
Yeah.
and that deeper knowing that often guides us toward, what's truly best. And speaking of unlearning, a major theme in Unconditional is breaking free from harmful lessons we've picked up along the way, especially around things like parenting, love, and even success.
It's like we inherit these beliefs without even realizing it.
Right.
And they can have such a powerful hold on us, shaping our choices and behaviors even when they're, no longer serving us. I'm curious, what are some of the specific lessons Zafar talks about unlearning?
Well, one that really stands out is the clown mask incident she describes. She realizes that she was unintentionally teaching her daughter to, suppress her negative emotions, to put on a happy face, even when she was hurting. And it made Zafar confront this deeply ingrained belief that children should be seen and not heard, especially when it comes to, difficult emotions.
Wow. That's such a powerful example. It makes you think about all the ways we've been conditioned to hide our true selves, even from a young age. And I imagine that kind of emotional suppression can have long-lasting effects. Does Zafar talk about how those patterns, show up in adult relationships?
Mm. Absolutely. She gets incredibly candid about her own struggles with setting boundaries in romantic relationships because of her past experiences.
Mm.
She talks about feeling obligated to say yes even when she wanted to say no, and about constantly putting her partner's needs before her own.
Right.
It's heartbreaking but also incredibly relatable, especially for anyone who's been in a relationship where, their needs were consistently overlooked.
It highlights how these patterns can repeat themselves until we consciously choose to, break free, right? Like
Mhm.
we might be attracted to the same type of partner or fall into familiar dynamics that ultimately don't serve us.
And what's so powerful about Zafar's story is that she doesn't just point out these patterns. She actually provides steps for, unlearning them.
Okay.
She talks about the importance of self-reflection, recognizing your triggers, and developing new coping mechanisms for dealing with difficult emotions in a healthier way.
So it's about recognizing those patterns and then actively choosing to like rewrite the
Yeah,
script.
yeah.
That's such an empowering message, especially for anyone who feels stuck in a cycle of unhealthy relationships.
Exactly. And it's not easy work, but Zafar emphasizes that it's possible. It requires courage, self-compassion, and a willingness to confront those uncomfortable truths about ourselves and our past. But the rewards are immense. Deeper self-awareness, healthier relationships, and a greater sense of freedom and authenticity.
Now, Zafar doesn't just explore, personal relationships. She also dives into her professional life, sharing some pretty eye-opening experiences from her time in the finance world. And it's fascinating because here she is, this incredibly accomplished woman, and yet she still faced challenges as a woman of color.
It's a stark reminder that even in fields where diversity is, supposedly valued, there's still a lot of work to be done to create truly inclusive environments.
Yeah.
Lisfar talks about being tokenized, feeling like she had to constantly prove herself, and facing those subtle but pervasive microaggressions that chipped away at her sense of belonging.
It's almost like there's this unspoken expectation for her to fit into a certain mold, right?
Yeah.
To downplay her cultural identity or her unique perspective in order to be, accepted or successful. And that must have been incredibly frustrating, especially given her expertise in diversity and inclusion.
Absolutely. And it highlights the importance of moving beyond just representation, of creating spaces where people feel truly valued and respected for who they are, not just for what they can contribute.
So it's not enough to just have a diverse workforce. You need to create a culture that embraces and celebrates those differences.
Yeah.
And that's where things like mentorship, allyship, and open dialogue become so important, right?
Exactly. Zafar talks about the crucial role mentors played in her journey, particularly her mentor John, who provided guidance, encouragement, and a safe space for her to share her struggles and aspirations. She also emphasizes the importance of building a supportive network of women, a tribe of like-minded individuals who understand and celebrate her journey. But we'll delve deeper into that in the next part of our deep dive.
This has been such an insightful conversation already. We've covered so much ground, from leaving a forced marriage to unlearning harmful lessons to navigating the complexities of diversity and belonging. I'm really looking forward to exploring Zafar's journey of, building a supportive community and her evolving relationship with faith in the next part of our deep dive. So make sure to stick around.
Welcome back, everyone. We're continuing our deep dive into Unconditional by Dr. Samra Zafar, a memoir that's just packed with insights on, breaking free from limitations and creating a life that truly reflects who you are.
In the last part, we talked about Zafar's incredibly brave decision to leave a forced marriage, that powerful road trip, where she really focused on strengthening her intuition and the importance of, unlearning those harmful lessons from the past. Now, I'm really curious to hear more about the specific tools and techniques she uses to like actually make those changes happen. It's one thing to recognize the need for unlearning, but how do you actually do it?
That's where Zafar really shines. She doesn't just, share her personal story. She gives us practical strategies we can apply in our own lives.
Okay.
One of the most fascinating concepts she introduces is something as parts work therapy. It's based on the idea that we all have different subpersonalities or parts that influence our thoughts and actions.
Okay, so not multiple personalities like in a movie, but different aspects of ourselves that come out in different situations.
Yeah.
I can definitely relate to that. Like there's the work me who's like super organized and focused, and then there's the weekend me who just wants to like relax and have fun.
Exactly. And parts work therapy suggests that the parts we reject or try to suppress, often, out of shame or fear, can actually become like sources of pain and hold us back from growth. For example, Zafar talks about rejecting the good wife part of herself after leaving her marriage. But that rejection also left her with a lot of unresolved anger towards her younger self, the part that had endured that experience.
That's so interesting. It's like those parts, even the ones we don't like, are still a, a part of us. And by
Right.
acknowledging them with compassion, we can start to like heal and integrate them into a more whole and authentic self. It reminds me of the saying, what you resist persists.
Precisely. And Zafar explains that, working with a therapist trained in parts work therapy can be incredibly helpful, especially for people who've experienced, trauma. She also recommends the work of Dr. Richard Schwartz, who's written a book called No Bad Parts. It's a great resource for anyone wanting to, explore this approach further.
So we're not just talking about like abstract concepts here.
Right.
There are tangible resources and tools available to help us on this journey of unlearning and self-discovery.
Yeah.
I love that. Now, another big theme in Unconditional is courage. And Zafar doesn't just talk about the courage to leave a difficult situation, but also the courage to plan, the courage to act, and importantly, the courage to recover.
She beautifully challenges the notion that courage is something you either have or you don't.
Yeah.
She sees it as a muscle that you build through repeated effort, even setbacks.
Right.
She even uses this cool analogy from the motorcycle world. Each of us has to ride our own ride.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
It highlights the fact that everyone's journey is unique, our challenges are different, and there's no need to compare ourselves to others.
Exactly.
Some days we might need to slow down. Other days we might be ready to speed ahead. The key is to stay true to our own path and pace.
Exactly. And courage isn't always about grand gestures, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's about the small daily acts of showing up for ourselves, of choosing to move forward, even when fear is present, like speaking up for yourself in a meeting or setting a boundary with a friend. Those little acts of courage can add up to big changes over time.
Speaking of fear, Zafar doesn't she doesn't sugarcoat the emotional roller coaster that often comes with unlearning and growth. She's really open about her own struggles with anxiety and flashbacks, even years after leaving her marriage.
Right.
That kind of vulnerability makes her story even more, relatable and inspiring.
It normalizes those struggles and shows us that healing isn't linear.
Yeah.
Those setbacks, those moments of feeling overwhelmed are all part of the process. And instead of judging ourselves for those moments, we can approach them with, self-compassion and use them as opportunities to learn and grow.
One of the things I appreciate most about Zafar's writing is how she seamlessly weaves in, practical advice and exercises alongside her personal stories.
Mm-hmm.
For example, she talks about the importance of setting boundaries, not just in romantic relationships, but in all areas of life.
And she provides, specific steps for identifying those unhealthy patterns
Yeah.
and communicating your needs effectively. It's about recognizing that you have the right to protect your physical and emotional well-being, even if that means, saying no to people or situations that drain you.
That resonates with me so much. I used to be such a people pleaser, always saying yes, even when I really wanted to say no.
Yeah.
But learning to set boundaries has been such a game changer. It's not always easy, but it's so worth it for your own, mental health and well-being.
Absolutely. And Zafar also talks about the importance of, challenging ingrained beliefs about love and relationships.
Okay.
She shares some vulnerable anecdotes about her own experiences with emotional abuse, and it's clear that she's learned a lot about, red flags and healthy relationship dynamics.
I think that's so important for people to hear because emotional abuse can be so insidious.
Yeah.
It's not always obvious, and it can really erode your self-esteem and sense of worth over time.
Exactly. Zafar's story highlights the importance of, being aware of those patterns, trusting your gut when something feels off, and having the courage to walk away from relationships that aren't serving you, even if it feels, scary or goes against societal expectations.
She also talks about unlearning perfectionism, which is something I think so many people struggle with, that feeling of never being good enough, constantly comparing ourselves to others, and the pressure to achieve. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
What are some of Zafar's insights on overcoming perfectionism?
She doesn't advocate for abandoning, high standards altogether.
Okay.
Instead, she encourages us to shift our focus from external validation to internal fulfillment.
Right.
To find joy in the process of growth rather than constantly chasing, an elusive ideal of perfection.
Yeah.
And she talks about the importance of self-compassion, of recognizing that we're all human and we're all going to make mistakes. It's about learning to be kind to ourselves, even when we, fall short of our own expectations.
That's such a powerful message. especially in a world that often glorifies like hustle culture and achieving at all costs. It's about recognizing that our worth isn't tied to our accomplishments, but to our inherent value as human beings.
And Zafar also talks about the importance of, finding your why, your purpose. She offers an interesting exercise based on the best possible self-intervention where you imagine your ideal future, not in a fantastical way, but in a grounded and achievable way. It's
Right.
about, connecting with what truly matters to you
Yeah.
and using that vision to guide your decisions and actions. She stresses the importance of, aligning your actions with your values. It's not just about setting goals, but about ensuring those goals reflect, who you are at your core and the kind of impact you want to make in the world.
It's about living with intention, right?
Yeah.
Not just going through the motions, but actively creating a life that feels meaningful and aligned with your deepest values.
Yeah.
Now, one of the most striking aspects of Unconditional is Zafar's exploration of her evolving relationship with religion and faith. She
Wow.
talks about the complexities of those beliefs, particularly for those who've experienced trauma or control within religious structures.
It's a sensitive topic, and Zafar approaches it with such nuance and honesty.
Yeah.
She shares her own experiences of feeling trapped by her mother's restrictive interpretation of Islam, and her decision to create a more supportive and empowering environment for her daughters, free from fear and judgment. Her journey highlights the power of, questioning inherited beliefs and finding a path that aligns with your own, values and experiences. It's about recognizing that you have the agency to define your own relationship with faith and spirituality.
That's so important. We don't have to blindly accept what we've been taught.
Right.
We have the right to explore, question, and ultimately choose what resonates with us on a deeper level.
And that process can be challenging, even isolating at times. Zafar emphasizes the importance of finding support, whether it's, from friends, therapists, or online communities of people who've, gone through similar experiences. You don't have to do this alone.
Speaking of support, throughout Unconditional, Safar talks about the importance of building a strong support network. She mentions the role of mentors, like her mentor John, and how those relationships can provide guidance, encouragement, and a sounding board for ideas. But she also emphasizes the need to be deliberate about the connections we cultivate, to surround ourselves with people who uplift and empower us to be our best selves.
She even talks about, unlearning unhealthy friendship patterns and recognizing the difference between true support and relationships based on, drama or codependency. It's about choosing connections that nourish our soul and contribute to our overall well-being.
I think that's so crucial because the people we surround ourselves with have such a profound impact on our lives, and sometimes we have to like let go of relationships that are no longer serving us, even if it's difficult
Yeah.
to make space for those that truly nourish and support our growth.
And that leads us to one of the final key themes in the book, the power of self-care. Zafar is honest about her struggles with balancing her many roles and responsibilities and how that led to burnout. She realized that prioritizing her own needs was not selfish but essential for her health and happiness.
I think a lot of people, especially women, struggle with that. We're so conditioned to put everyone else's needs first, and we often feel guilty about taking time for ourselves.
Right.
What are some of Zafar's insights on making self-care a priority?
What I appreciate about her approach is that it's not about adding, more to your to-do list.
Okay.
It's about incorporating small, sustainable practices into your daily life that nourish your mind, body, and spirit. And she emphasizes that self-care looks different for everyone.
Right.
It's about finding what works for you and giving yourself permission to make those choices a priority. She talks about the importance of, slowing down, tuning into your body signals and shifting from that doing mode to being mode
Yeah.
we talked about earlier. It's about creating, space for rest, reflection, and activities that bring you joy and replenish your energy.
It's like hitting the pause button on that constant go 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 mentality, and giving yourself permission to just be.
Yeah.
And sometimes self-care is about setting boundaries, right?
Absolutely.
Saying no to things that drain you, even if it means disappointing others.
One of the practical exercises she suggests is something called habit stacking, where you link a new healthy habit to an existing one. For
Mhm.
example, if you already, brush your teeth every night, you could add a few minutes of, meditation or journaling to that routine.
Right.
It's a simple but effective way to make self-care a more seamless part of your life.
I love that idea. It's about making self-care a non-negotiable part of your day, not just something you squeeze in when you have time. And Zafar emphasizes that self-care isn't about, achieving some perfect state of balance or bliss. It's about creating a more sustainable and joyful life, even amid the inevitable, challenges and ups and downs. It's about being kind to ourselves, embracing imperfection, and celebrating the progress we make along the way.
It's a powerful message, especially in a world that often glorifies busyness and achievement at the expense of our well-being. Zafar's story reminds us that we all deserve to, live authentic and fulfilling lives, and that starts with taking care of ourselves and unlearning those beliefs that hold us back from our true potential.
This has been such an incredible conversation so far. We've covered so much ground, from parts work therapy to the courage to recover, from setting boundaries to finding our purpose. I'm eager to hear more about Safar's insights on building a supportive network of women and navigating the complexities of diversity and belonging in the workplace. That's coming up in the final part of our deep dive, so stay tuned. Well, welcome back to the deep dive. We're wrapping up our exploration of Unconditional by Dr. Samra Zafar. It's been such a powerful journey so far. Exploring themes of courage, self-discovery, and unlearning those beliefs that hold us back. In this final part, I'm excited to dive into Zafar's insights on building a supportive network of women and navigating the complexities of diversity and belonging, especially in the workplace.
Yeah, this is where Zafar's story takes a really interesting turn. She talks candidly about her initial hesitation to connect with other women, stemming from past experiences with judgment and competition, particularly within her own cultural community.
That's so relatable. It's like she had this internalized belief that other women were a threat, that their success somehow diminished her own. I think a lot of us have felt that way at some point, especially in environments that pit women against each other.
Absolutely. And Zafar challenges that notion head on. She talks about the power of, sisterhood, of women supporting and uplifting each other, and how those connections can be a source of incredible strength, encouragement, and inspiration.
There was a pivotal moment in the book where she attends a gathering of successful women from diverse backgrounds, and she describes this feeling of genuine connection and belonging in that space, free from the judgment and comparison that had held her back in the past. It's a beautiful illustration of the power of finding your tribe, those people who see you, support you, and celebrate your successes as their own.
And Zafar doesn't just, talk about the benefits of having a strong network of women. She actually provides practical steps for building those connections. She encourages us to be intentional, to reach out to people we admire, to join groups and communities that align with our values, and to nurture those relationships with care and reciprocity.
So it's not just about like wishing for a supportive community.
Right.
It's about uh, actively creating one. And it starts with putting ourselves out there, taking that first step to connect with other women who share our values and aspirations. It can feel vulnerable, especially if you've been hurt in the past, but the rewards can be life-changing.
Exactly. Zafar's story reminds us that we're not meant to go through life alone. We all need that sense of connection, that feeling of belonging, and those relationships can be such a powerful source of support, especially when we're facing challenges or pursuing our dreams.
Now, shifting gears a bit, Zafar also offers valuable insights on navigating the complexities of diversity and belonging, particularly in the workplace. As a woman of color who achieves significant success in a predominantly white male dominated field, she has a unique perspective on the systemic barriers that still exist. She talks about her own experiences with microaggressions, tokenism, and the pressure to conform to expectations that often felt at odds with her authentic self.
She's incredibly honest about the emotional toll those experiences can take, the feeling of not being seen, valued, or respected for who you are.
Yeah.
And it's a reminder that that representation alone isn't enough.
Right.
We need to go beyond simply checking boxes and create cultures where everyone feels a sense of belonging, where their voices are heard and where their contributions are truly valued.
That's such an important point. It's not just about diversity. It's about inclusion, about
Yeah.
creating an environment where everyone feels safe to bring their whole selves to work without feeling like they have to, downplay their identity or conform to a certain mold.
Exactly. And Zafar emphasizes the importance of allyship, of those in positions of power using their influence to advocate for change, to challenge bias, and to create opportunities for those who've been historically marginalized. But she also recognizes that the work of unlearning and creating more inclusive environments is a collective responsibility.
It's about being aware of our own biases, being
Mm.
willing to listen and learn from others, and
Mhm.
and having the courage to speak up against injustice, even when it feels uncomfortable or risky. It's about recognizing that our individual actions, however small they may seem, can contribute to creating a more equitable and just world for all.
Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive into unconditional, and I have to say this has been an incredibly inspiring and thought-provoking journey. Dr. Samra Zafar's story is a testament to the human capacity for resilience, transformation, and growth.
It's a book that will stay with you, long after you finish reading it. It's a call to action, an invitation to examine our own beliefs, to unlearn those patterns that are holding us back, and to create a life that is truly aligned with our values and our most authentic selves.
If you haven't already, I highly recommend picking up a copy of Unconditional. The link, as always, is in the episode description. And as you embark on your own journey of unlearning and self-discovery, remember that you are not alone. There are resources, communities, and people who are here to support you every step of the way.
A huge thank you to all of you for joining us on this deep dive into Unconditional. We'd love to hear your thoughts. What resonated with you most? What's one belief you're ready to unlearn? Share your favorite moments from the book in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the deep dive for more explorations into fascinating topics and insightful sources. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep striving to live a life that is truly unconditional.